Good evening. Welcome to the Real Sports Repo. This is our picks for week 6. Picks for week 6. That rhymes. Yeah, I made it rhyme. No, I'm not Snoop Dogg or anything. I just made it rhyme. All right, we're going to get right into it. First game slated is Carolina versus Atlanta. This is a part of the NFC South week. Carolina plays Atlanta, and the Saints play
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. So, for this game, I'm going to have to go ahead and I'm going to keep rolling with Cam Newton. I know he's not actually pulling the wins off, but he's getting closer and closer. So, Cam, I'm going to roll with you and D'Angelo and Jonathan and Steve and Greg Olson and Jeremy Shockey and Charles Johnson and the Carolina Panthers. You got to stop Roddy White. You got to stop Michael the Burner Turner. And you got to stop Matt Ryan. You haven't really had to stop Tony Gonzalez because I ain't heard much about him. But, Mr. Sears, who's your pick?
I'm going to have to roll with you and the rest of the Carolina Panthers and the rest of the Carolina Panthers fans.
Cam!
I think that you guys will be able to pull off the victory in Atlanta. I see Atlanta falling off from what they were last year. Matt Ryan got his first home loss last week. It was a long time coming, and I think that they're actually going to start falling apart here the way they're playing. They got the ability to pick it up, but they're not showing it to me right now. Since week 1 against the Bears, they have just not been the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm going to have to roll with Carolina. Next, we've got Indianapolis at Cincinnati. I'll let you take the floor.
Okay, well, for this game, I don't know, man. I want to trust you, Indianapolis. I want to trust you. And Curtis Painter, you showed me something. I have a lot more respect for you than I did when you first started. To be honest with you, kid, you've got a guaranteed backup job. You've got a guaranteed backup job somewhere, and you might possibly be able to work your way into a starting gig if what is the CFL. No offense, but not going to start anywhere else. But I'm going to roll with Cincinnati. Cincinnati's on a roll. Andy Dalton's playing great. I see him doing big things. I see A.J. Green getting the ball a lot. I see Andre Caldwell getting the ball a lot. This young defense is doing pretty well. They've got 3 ex-49ers over there who are working out pretty well besides Taylor Mays, who they haven't really used. So I'm going to have to go with the Cincinnati Bengals.
How does that saying go? You're only as good as your last game?
Uh-huh.
Well, Indianapolis in your last game, you gave up 28 points to the Kansas City Chiefs. Cincinnati scored 30 points on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not saying Jacksonville's a great team, but Cincinnati put up 30. I'm going to have to roll with the Cincinnati Bengals as well.
Well, next game on the tap is the game of the week, I believe. San Francisco versus the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 5-0. The 49ers are 4-1. Now, this is a really big matchup of epic proportions at this point in the season because the 49ers don't get a lot of airtime, and neither do the Lions. Lions had been the laughing stock of the league for the past few years, and last year they started to up their stock by going 6-10 and finishing a lot better than 0-16, which Calvin Johnson would like to forget. This is going to be a hard pick because what Javid Best did to the Bears this week, he will not do to the 49ers. You just don't run on the Niners. They shut down everybody. They haven't allowed a rusher to have more than 80 yards in a game this season. So with the rushing, I'm going to have to say no. The Lions don't win. With the receiving, I'm sorry. I don't know who's going to stop Megatron. Carlos Rogers, you really have your work cut out for you. This guy's 6'5" and weighs 230 pounds. And he is an all-out, flat-out beast. He's got Starscream throwing him the ball, a.k.a. Matthew Stafford. But I don't know. Alex Smith looks good. Frank Gore's looking okay. Vernon Davis caught 2 touchdowns last week. They lost Josh Morgan out for the season with a broken ankle, which hurts. So now they got to start thrusting people into the lineup. You got Michael Crabtree, so you might see Kyle Williams a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and go with my gut. I'm going to say that the San Francisco 49ers pull this one off. I just believe that Carlos Rodgers has been playing at a high level, and I believe he'll be able to at least get a good few picks in this game, and hopefully Chris Culliver can get himself another one. And with that X factor, my X factor for this game would be Aldon Smith, the rookie out of Missouri. Every time he comes in the game, he gets a sack, he knocks the ball down, he forces a fumble, he does something. So I'm going to roll with the 49ers. Mr. Sears?
As far as I'm concerned, again, you're not going to run on the Niners. I had to agree with that. Javid best, you're going to have to run to the outside. You're not going to be able to go up the gut if you do anything at all. As far as receiving, he mentioned Megatron, Starscreen. Good luck. I see this one going to overtime, and I see the San Francisco 49ers pulling it out by 3 in overtime. And also, too, I'd like a little analyzing from you on this as well. Trade deadline coming up, 2 weeks. San Francisco, do they go after free agency or do they go and trade for a receiver? What do you think they do?
If anything, I'm going to say they go in free agency and look for a receiver to fill the void. Braylon Evers has been hurt, but they do still have, like I said, Kyle Williams, and they still have Michael Crabtree. They still got Dominique Ziegler. They got a few guys on the roster, but they are going to need another guy. You might possibly see a return by Terrell Owens. Kind of pains me to say that because a lot of people say that, he's a locker room guy that breaks up everybody and does all that stuff. But you can't fault the guy. Numbers don't lie. Touchdowns don't lie. Yards don't lie. He is that good. I'm going to say possibly free agency, but I don't see them trading for anybody this week before the deadline passes. I just see them kind of rolling with what they got and trying to keep things pushing.
Okay, St. Louis at Green Bay.
Well, like I said before, fear the pack, fear Mr. Rogers and his neighborhood. Just Packers, nothing else. I don't have anything else.
Yep, I'm going to give you a final score here. Green Bay 47, St. Louis 10.
If they could score.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Buffalo and New York. Buffalo Bills have been rolling as of late, 4-1, and keeping it pushing, and they barely lost that game to the Cincinnati Bengals. So we got the G-men here coming off a loss. Eli Manning throwing 3 picks in that
Rushing
game.
loss.
He will throw more picks against the Buffalo Bills defense because they are that good. They do pick the ball off, so you have to be very mindful. Nick Barnett had a few picks last week when he played the Eagles. And those guys back there, Jerry's Bird and that whole defense, they play pretty well. So I'm going to have to go ahead and roll with the Buffalo Bills. Sorry, G-Men. I do see Victor Cruz having a great game. That bodes well for me in my fantasy league. But I just don't see the G-Men pulling it off. If they're going to win, they're going to have to try to run the ball. And their running game has been somewhat non-existent this year. So I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills.
Crushing loss last week. The ball tipping off of Victor Cruz's hands and losing the game on a pick that really wasn't Eli's fault. But I think Buffalo, too much defense, too much firepower with Fitzpatrick the way he's playing right now. I got to go Buffalo Bills. So far, we're even. What do you think about Jacksonville and Pittsburgh?
Jacksonville and Pittsburgh, one thing I got to say, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's going to win this game. They're going to go out there. They're going to hit Jacksonville hard. Blaine Gabbert, you're in for a world of hurt, baby. These linebackers don't play. That's linebacker you over there in Steeler Town. Mojo's probably going to have a great game because he's always going to run the ball. He's always going to do what he's got to do. But Blaine Gabbert, I see a very, very bad day for you. And I don't mean that you're going to have a bad day throwing. I mean you're going to have a bad day hurting. You're probably going to have to sit in a lot of ice after these guys get to you. You're lucky James Harrison's not there because he doesn't care. He'll hit you in the mouth and make you like it. I just see the Steelers running away with this game.
Good test for a rookie going up against a defense like that, but I think it's going to be a hard test to learn. Pittsburgh. Next, we're going to talk about Philly and Washington.
NFC East matchup. Philly and Washington. Washington's rolling. Just came off a bye week. Everybody's rested. Everybody's ready. Ryan Terrain looks to be the starter, as they seemingly have possibly benched Tim Hightower. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and you know what? I'm gonna take this as my upset. I'm gonna roll with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm gonna roll with Michael Vick, Shady McCoy, and that speedy receiver Deshaun Jackson. I'm just gonna take the Philadelphia Eagles. I ain't taking their defense because I don't like their defensive backs right now because they suck. Yeah, I said it. You suck. I'm not playing in the league, and I've never played professional football, but I have watched it. And you guys, what you were a few years ago, are worthless at this point.
Well, we have our first disagreement of the day. Washington's schedule is going to get tougher, and they're not going to get a lot of picks out of me in the upcoming weeks. Philly hasn't shown me much, so I'll give Washington the benefit of the doubt and give them one of the few picks that they're going to have from me this season. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Washington Redskins. Houston and Baltimore.
This is going to be a hard game. No Andre Johnson. All you got is pretty much Arian Foster and Owen Daniels, and Matt Schaub's going to throw the ball around a little bit. But you got to fear Ray Lewis. You got to fear Ed Reed. And you got to fear this Baltimore Ravens defense. Ray Lewis is an ageless wonder. And so is Ed Reed. Those two guys together in the same backfield are just a tandem to watch. It's like a Marvel Comics superhero tandem that you just can't get rid of. You throw the ball near Ed Reed, he's gonna pick it off. You throw the ball near Ray Lewis, he might pick it off. You try to run on him, he's gonna hit you. And you think because he's 36 years old, he ain't gonna hit you hard. Go out there and run on him and see if you don't get your back cracked. I'm gonna take the Baltimore Ravens. Period. Ray Rice running all over the place. Joe Flacco airing it out. Houston's going to have an okay game. Arian Foster may have a good game rushing, but I just see too much Baltimore Ravens D.
And I have to agree with you on that statement, and I'm going to add one more statement. Chubb, whether it was intentional or not, you try doing to Ed Reed what you did with Michael Huff next week. Not only is the ball going to get picked off, it's going to end up on the other side of the field in the end zone. You got to be careful in that game. Your decision-making has been questionable of late. I'm going to have to take Baltimore in this one as well. Cleveland and Oakland. Oakland a chance to gain ground in the AFC West with Denver, KC, and San Diego all off.
Well, this game is going to be interesting. Both of these teams are kind of still finding themselves. Oakland has a better record at 3-2, and Cleveland's 1-4. But I'm gonna go ahead and roll with the guy that I like. I'm going to roll with the Cleveland Browns. I think that they can actually try to pick things up this week and get themselves together. Colt McCoy is going to have to hit Muhammad Massaquoi a lot in this game. They're going to have to find a way to get Peyton Hillis going. That Madden curse is kicking his butt right now, and he's really not been doing anything all year. On the other side of the ball, Jason Campbell, he should probably be able to have an okay game if these DBs keep playing like they have. He's going to have a great game. And DMC most likely will run all over them. I'm not going to say that the Raiders will win, but I'm going to say this is probably about a 3-point game, 27-24, something like that.
Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you on this one. I'm going to take Jason Campbell and the Oakland Raiders to be able to beat that non-existent defense in Cleveland.
You know what? I'm going to change my pick. Yeah, I'm going to roll my boy over here and go with the Oakland Raiders. I just said DMC would run all over him. He probably will. They don't have much speed. Colt McCoy, I love you, baby. Keep doing your thing. But I'm going to change my pick. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and roll with Oakland in this one. I think they're going to go ahead and try to continue to honor Al Davis by winning. And they'll gain a little bit of ground in that AFC West with everybody else kicking back and being off.
4 more games to talk about, bye teams to talk about, and what they need to work on. Join us on part 2 of our Week 6 picks.
Thank you.